From the north side of the San Francisco Bay to Singapore, welcome to Urban X Real Talk Fitness Radio with your host, business owner, lecturer, author, master trainer, Tiaja. With over 30 years of experience in the health and fitness industry, he will challenge the fitness between your ears. So prepare your mind, body, and soul for the revolution of self-care, the evolution of fit, with real talk about real people, real health, real fitness, and the real deal behind our present illness culture. Real talk every time, all the time. Get weekly insights on how to shift your thinking, emoting, eating, training, hydrating, goal setting, and resting for you, the everyday athlete. You can cheat your fitness, but you can't steal your health flow. It's Tuesday, 9 a.m. Let's flow.
Over this past year, we've brought you many hard-hitting facts regarding the drug crisis in America. We informed you that more Americans are addicted to painkillers, sleeping pills, and speed than in any other developed nation in the world. We attempted to bring perspective, if not humbly, provide some answers to what seems unthinkable. How could this happen in the richest country in the history of the world? And equally important, why? Why do our grade school kids have to fear for their lives from one of their peers gunning them down in the playground, or have to refuse candy from friends because what looks like harmless candy may in fact be a drug, such as the street drug named Strawberry Quick due to its strawberry flavor and its appearance like Pop Rock, which may have been handed to them by an older brother, their sister's boyfriend, or an opportunistic dealer who's trying to cash in on their innocence. And then there's this. Every 15 minutes, a baby is born addicted to opiates in America. It gets worse. One baby every hour is born addicted in America. And why is that? Some argue that treating addiction rather than criminalizing addicts is the answer, but it's only a partial solution. The real solution is to empower people to make healthier choices well before the vice of addiction claims their strength of will. Conventional wisdom says that addiction, like so many other things in life, is a choice. And yes, that is completely true if you ignore the fact that many of the industries that have been assigned to give oversight and protections, such as the FDA, the food industry, the medical industrial complex, and the pharmaceutical industries, are the very industries that take full advantage of those Americans, particularly the elderly, who rely on them the most. Now, I'm not going to argue that choice and personal responsibility aren't vitally important, because you and I both know that would be silly. But when new diseases are unearthed each year and given new scientific names, and then a new drug is immediately branded and made available to treat it, then one has to wonder whether this is mere coincidence or conspiracy. And why aren't new innovations relative to cures created at the same rate of discovery? Deep questions for sure, but essential ones to think about. So I decided to take a look at international health news and found another disturbing trend that further substantiates my position. On November 27, just a few weeks ago, WHO, or the World Health Organization, issued this statement from the 19th IHR Emergency Committee. The international health regulations are an international legal instrument that is binding on 196 countries across the globe, including all the member states of WHO. The statement proclaimed that progress had stalled in ridding the world of polio. Polio? Remember that disease that was once thought to be extinct? Well, an emergency committee of the World Health Organization unanimously agreed to continue to designate the paralyzing disease a public health emergency of international concern. The Global Polio Eradication Initiative, a partnership of WHO and UNICEF, the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, Rotary International, and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, was initiated 30 years ago. In 1988, polio was endemic in 125 countries and sickened 350,000 children annually. But as a result of the public-private initiative, polio is now endemic in just 3 nations: Afghanistan, Nigeria, and Pakistan, while total cases have dropped more than 99% according to WHO. Now still, this year, the World Health Organization has recorded 27 cases of wild polio virus worldwide, compared with 22 total cases last year. Now, though the small number of cases may appear insignificant, the committee said the trend is noteworthy because it shows stagnation. The recent outbreaks in Afghanistan and Pakistan and New Guinea is an example of the ongoing vulnerability of some parts of the world to polio viruses. The committee urged countries in close proximity to the current outbreaks to urgently strengthen polio surveillance and routine immunization. There needs to be a renewed urgency urgency, they said, to addressing these gaps whenever they exist. The world is at a critical point in polio eradication, and failure to boost population immunity through strengthening routine immunization, and where outbreaks have occurred through implementation of high-quality supplemental immunization activity in areas of known high risk, could jeopardize or severely delay polio eradication. The current situation, it says, calls for unabated efforts and use of every tool available to achieve the goal in these most challenging countries. This is the correct protocol to use when addressing a public health crisis. That is, if you are serious about confronting it versus creating it. You educate and you empower people on the international, national, and local levels, and you exhaust every available resource. You lower the price of goods and services, if not make them free, minus the constitution of bureaucracy. Then you assign a task force whose only objective is to become a ubiquitous force of good. Welcome to Urban X Real Talk Fitness Radio, where we challenge the fitness between your ears. I'm your host, Tiaja. A longtime finance executive for medical bureaucracy described his field in this way. There is an army of consultants running around hospitals, he said. A whole phalanx of firms is there to improve revenue, improve compensation, and get a piece of the pie. 10 to 15% of revenue goes to billing and collection companies and contractors to do things like claims and pre-approval. Those jobs don't even exist in Europe. And hospitals go to Wall Street for bond issues to build new wings. So the bankers are also at the trough. We have so much surplus capacity, he said, which could lead to falling prices, but instead we get the opposite. It's a market failure, but it follows certain logic. This is not a healthcare system. It's an industry, and at every point there's a way to make money. End of quote. In a world populated by doctors and nurses and now specialists, America is the only country where the cost of the same medical procedure can differ, not just from state to state, but even from one side of town to the other. And why is that? Property values are higher on the other side of town comparatively. Let me let you in on a little dirty secret of the medical industry. Most doctors still use sales charts, which show them how much money their exams or procedures bring in relative to their colleagues. Many also receive pre-approved sales scripts and stock phrases to describe their exams and procedures to ensure higher revenue. On the surface, this doesn't sound all that bad or out of line, but what do you think about your doctor's shopping prices for a procedure he or she is requesting to perform on you? But the doctors really aren't the bad guys here. It's the people they work for. For example, the Providence network of hospitals. Providence and its network of smaller hospitals are known to offer great service. The issue is Providence completely purchased the practices of internists, cardiologists, and neurologists. Now are you starting to see the larger picture here? Scary stuff. And they are now the third largest hospital system in the United States, operating in California, Oregon, Washington, Alaska, and Montana. But get this, in 2013, Providence had revenues of $2.6 billion and about $2 billion in assets. That same year, its CEO earned $3.5 million. Yet, it still describes itself as a not-for-profit Catholic healthcare ministry. Now, here's a short list of the top 10 not-for-profit hospital systems in the United States. Not surprising, California leads all other states with a combined 114 not-for-profit hospitals. Ascension Health has 75. Trinity Health has 44 hospitals. Catholic Health Initiatives has 39. Kaiser Permanente in Oakland has 37. Adventist Health Systems has 35. Dignity Health from San Francisco has 35. Sutter Health in Sacramento has 26. Providence Health and Services has 26. Christus Health has 20. Banner Health has 19. Baylor Scott and White Health 19. Mercy Health 17. UPMC has 17. SSM Healthcare has 17. Intermountain Healthcare has 17. New York Presbyterian Healthcare System has 16. And Adventist Health in Roseville, California has 16. As wrong and poorly managed as this all seems, that's not my biggest problem. My major issue is the glaring fact that those same exemptions never translate into lower prices for the millions of patients these hospitals serve. When the mothers of babies who are addicted to prescription drugs in America can't receive the same urgent care as mothers in Afghanistan or Pakistan for their children afflicted with a disease that is 99% eradicated, then what are we really talking about here? Healthcare? Or are we simply discussing how disease and illness get underwritten, bought, and sold in America? Today will be just another day unless you decide it won't be. It is Tuesday, December 4th, 2018. Let's flow.
A quiet epidemic on the rise where roughly one baby an hour in this country is born hooked on prescription painkillers their mothers are abusing. These innocent victims face an uphill battle, as we saw when we were invited into one special hospital ward in Tennessee. ABC's Juju Chang brings us this tale of hope and heartbreak as part of our division-wide commitment to telling the stories of the invisible among us, a hidden America.
It's noon in the neonatal intensive care unit at East Tennessee Children's Hospital, and baby Grayson, just 48 hours old, is shaking again.
He's tremoring.
Grayson was born with a serious drug dependency because his pregnant mother was addicted to painkillers. Now he gets morphine every 3 hours to cut the pain of withdrawal. Grayson was brought here from a nearby hospital to this special unit for detoxing newborns. Right now, there are 23 tiny patients here going through withdrawal, mostly from prescription pills like OxyContin, Vicodin, or Percocet.
It's like they're inconsolable. I know people probably think I exaggerate when I say they have this very fearful look in their eyes. Well, they do.
Good morning.
Carla Saunders is the head nurse of this special unit.
They'll have really bad tremors, really bad jitters, very bad irritability, vomiting, diarrhea, stomach cramping.
Nightline was given rare access for 4 days and nights to witness firsthand what they see as a new and hidden epidemic in this country, striking the most innocent of victims.
When I started, you maybe had a withdrawal baby once in a while, and then it was once a month, and we got 6 this weekend, all at one time.
It's gone from a drip to a flood.
A flood. It is a flood.
After 2 days of waiting, there's finally room on the ward for Grayson.
Now we're transporting this baby to the 3rd floor.
He's fairly jittery. Has he needed a lot of Tylenol?
We've given it to him twice today because he's been right on the borderline.
It's starting to look like they may begin weaning him off the morphine.
If it's 2-year-old, then they start weaning right.
Ashton, just 19 years old, is Grayson's mom.
He's done so good today.
Good.
He's just so, happy.
Big difference from 2 days ago?
Yeah. Mama needed you to be more awake.
She says she tried the prescription painkiller roxicodone for the first time as a party drug while still in high school.
How easy was it for you to score painkillers?
They're pretty much easy to find if you want them.
It's everywhere.
It is crazy to see how many kids are strung out on opiates.
Ashton says she lost a basketball scholarship to the drugs. Having tried to go cold turkey on her own, she knows just how painful withdrawal can be.
You get cold chills, your skin feels like it's crawling, like it's crawling, literally. I mean, you just feel so, you don't want nobody to touch you.
Knowing how awful it feels, what goes through your mind when you know that Grayson's going through that now?
It drives me crazy. I mean, it literally makes me, honestly, it makes me beat myself up every day.
Ashton was trying to recover and on methadone when she got pregnant, but doctors advise pregnant mothers not to stop using because the baby in their womb might suffer from potentially lethal withdrawal. It's clear why when you see Grayson now. Nurse Saunders is helping develop a treatment program using a powerful combination of drugs, trial and error, and lots of TLC. It can take weeks, even months, for these tiny bodies to withdraw from what their mothers were hooked on.
How is Grayson doing?
Still having the jerk and tremors, and he's got the loose stool.
After days of progress, baby Grayson suffers a setback. On our 4th day on the unit, Saunders still can't wean him off the morphine as she'd hoped.
Not only is Grayson not going to wean tomorrow, I'm going to go right for an increase for him.
Now Nurse Saunders has to break the news to Ashton.
Grayson, this morning, was starting to get a little more jittery, and he's kind of progressed through the day today, and so we've had to go up on his medications. I think you can see him twitching pretty good. And
it's like he's went all crazy overnight, pretty much. It's like he's just went downhill.
This is just probably the first dip in the roller coaster ride.
Okay, buddy, here you go. And this is the increased dose. But this will help settle his jerks down. Wake up! Wake up! Open your eyes.
You are so big.
And yet inside the NICU, there are glimmers of hope. After 88 days here, baby Mason is about to go home, a moment that's bittersweet for the staff.
Oh, you wanted in on this conversation. I know you did.
Tell them. You want to tell them about it? It's okay.
What goes through your mind when you hand over a baby that you've taken 3 months of your life to nurture and care for?
It's never easy to say goodbye to them because we do get attached, but we know that we have given them their best shot at the first few days or weeks or months of their life.
3-week-old Grayson is one of the lucky ones. His mother says she's trying to keep clean, taking doctor-prescribed methadone to wean herself from an addiction to painkillers.
Your eyes look a little dilated to me. Are you still using?
I'm still on methadone now, yeah. I have been since I had him, yeah.
But are you using other stuff outside of that?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No. Methadone's the only thing I've used since I got in the clinic.
How do you make it up to him from here on out? How do you prove that you deserve to take him home?
You have to start just detoxing yourself. You have to start doing it just like he's doing it.
If Grayson could understand what you said to him right now, what would you say to him?
Mama, sorry. It's just hard. I mean, none of it was planned, you know? I wanted something better for him because, I grew up around it, I know. And it wasn't fun. I didn't want that for him. I wanted better for him because I wanted to be the mom that I didn't have.
For Nightline, I'm Juju Chang in Knoxville, Tennessee.
As of tonight, baby Grayson is still in the hospital but could be sent home in a week. In some states, abusing painkillers during pregnancy is considered child abuse and is illegal. But in Tennessee, mother and child will be allowed to stay together as long as Ashton is in treatment. Our thanks to Juju.
Here are my 2 cents, and feel free to keep the change. The notion more treatment is always better in America, that when in doubt, default to the most expensive option has dominated the landscape of medicine in America for far too long. Let me tell you a quick story about one treatment for prostate cancer as an example. There is a highly controversial procedure called proton beam therapy. Now, just a little background. Proton beam therapy is a type of radiation treatment that uses protons rather than x-rays to treat cancer. Theoretically, the positively charged particles whose blast radius outside the treatment area is significantly less damaging supposedly makes it a safer option as opposed to conventional radiation therapies. Now, both the American Cancer Institute and the American Cancer Society have given their blessings to this therapy. But here's the catch-22. Each newer proton beam therapy machine costs nearly $100 million to manufacture, which obviously means there should be a few made, right? What once started out as a rare utility developed to treat a small number of rare tumors of the eye has now become a behemoth scattered throughout the country, but only in the most affluent hospital systems. No surprise there. So imagine the cost based on travel and lodging and expenses alone if you don't live within the range of one of those lottery cities. But here's the real point I'd like you to take away from this. The British National Health Service sends the few patients whom it deems suitable for proton beam therapy to the United States. But guess what? They pay not only for the treatment, they pay for travel and 8 to 10 weeks of lodging. They pay for what? Yes, they pay for travel and nearly 2.5 months of lodging expenses. But here's the rub. The reason why the world sends their sick and disease to America is because the United States has the greatest medical technology in the world. Some of the greatest minds and innovators reside here. That's inarguable. Regarding the innovators, however, many have already created alternative therapies to combat and in many cases kill cancer. But their therapies are either suppressed or buried altogether beneath miles of bureaucratic red tape, making it nearly impossible for their therapeutic cures to ever see the light of day. The rising cost of R&D also makes it virtually impossible for these same innovators to survive, as pharmaceutical companies dole out billions of dollars each year to quash any foreseeable competition. Still, we have an obligation to fight back. It's not going to be easy to take on a medical industrial complex that has nearly become self-sustaining. But fight we must, if not for our sake, for the sake of all those babies who come into this world innocently addicted, not by circumstance or some force of natural selection, but by our choices. Dear friends, I wish above all things that you prosper just as your soul prospers. You've been listening to Urban X Real Talk Fitness Radio with your host Tiaja. If you like the content we bring each week, then follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, Snapchat, as well as all of your other favorite social media. And while you're at it, hit that subscribe button or download our app at tiajae.podbean.com. Also, check out my latest YouTube channel titled T's Universe and its podcast titled T's Reverse. According to the comments I receive each and every week, both have been inspiring imaginations and creative protesting people all over the globe. And trust me when I say, both are unlike anything you've heard before. So check out T's Universe every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's 5 or so minutes that's guaranteed to change your life. And don't forget to stop through our website at www.urbanxfitness.net, where you will find our online stores, the Urban Experience Fit Stores 1 and 2. And there you can download our unique home and gym workouts, dietary menus, as well as purchase some outrageously bold teas and spark your own revolution of self-care. Also, check out our small library of my hand-picked, personally endorsed nutritional products. Okay, got it? Okay, then get it. Until next week, as always, walk in health and peace. I knew I wasn't a racist, that my deep-seated beliefs about blacks and Hispanics had no basis in anything I personally perceived, yet fed by the narcissism of what I believed to be true, that somehow my color may be better than you. White wasn't a color, it symbolized perfection, while in the lives of everyone non-white it stood for rejection. I was born in a white house with a white picket fence. My way of life I was taught to protect it. Even if I disagreed with its views, I had to respect it. Short story, I was taught to protect this frail memorial, the history of white people written like some editorial. No one ever taught me to stop or to correct that. As a child, I was never taught to challenge facts, so I grew up never thinking about race. My black friends were not black at all, just white people in blackface. In my house, the N-word was never allowed, never spoken. Like all the other words wrapped in sorrow, it was to be buried in the deepest part of the ocean, the canyon of our tears, the lowest part on earth, our fears. So I listened to hard rock at home and gangster rap at school. I smoked Marlboros with my white friends and with my black friends' cools. I played with their curly locks and they played in mine. Anyone who took offense was out of line. Their offense came at my expense of my proof of my truth. I grew up colorblind, my world cleansed of white sin and guilt. I bear the name, but not the blame.